Winston Churchill that said, democracy is the worst form of government until you think about all others.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So here we have the flawed aspect of Western culture, but yet we know the benefits that it brings to other people, especially we bring it to help food and shelter, and we want to be able to do that. Our system is better than many of theirs. Yes. If you just look at some of the results and how it's helping people flourish. So how do you differentiate between that being an idolatrous thing to the aspect of how it's been good for society?
That's a good question. I think it's an important one because I think we need to love our culture. What we hate is the idolatry that twists it, but we love our culture. And in loving our culture, part of it is saying, what's good about it? And what's good about American culture? What's good about Canadian culture? What's good about European culture? And I want to say a lot. A lot is good about it. And why is it good? Well, a lot of it is because of what I call the salting influence of the Christian faith on Western culture. I think the salting influence of the Christian faith is very prominent. You know, I've been teaching worldview, and I think in the late 1990s, maybe 2000, I was traveling a lot to the Ukraine and Eastern Europe. I remember giving a lecture in a number of universities over there. It was called Marxism, Capitalism, and the Gospel, 3 Visions for Public Life. And as I did, I had been very critical of a very Western, Canadian especially, but North American vision of public life, of its idols. But what struck me about going to the Ukraine and one time being in part of the Russian part of the Crimea was that in Russia, there had been the humanism of Russia, communism, suppressed the Christian faith ruthlessly. And in doing so, had a degree of success. And the evidence of what had taken place when you suppress the Christian faith, the loss of salting influence, was everywhere. I mean, this place in the Ukraine was a devastated place. And I was able to say that in my lecture. This is a devastated place because your story didn't work. What that did for me in a good way was help me see that in the United States and in Canada, there had not been a ruthless suppression of the Christian faith. There had just been this privatization, putting it over here in this small area. And I've been critical of that and still am. But the reality is you can't put Jesus over here. You can't say, we'd like you to stay there, Jesus. Jesus doesn't stay there. He spills over into public life. And the reality is that salting of God's work through Christ in the Spirit has had a tremendous shaping and salting effect on the United States and on Canada through religious freedom, if you want to put it that way. And so through that, churches have been able to live and act and live out their faith in a variety of ways. And in many ways, it has brought a lot of good into our culture. And so I want to talk about that. So I think that's the good side of it. I think the negative side of it is that we've developed the economic side of life very well. And that economic really delivers and offers a lot of good things and benefits of life. And people want those economic benefits. They want those, but they don't want the way that consumerism and the idolatry of the economy dehumanizes. They don't want that. They just want the benefits of it in many ways. But I want to stay with the positive. Often what they want is they see a culture and they say, okay, we like these things. And they don't realize a lot of these things have come because of the deep salting effect of the Christian faith. And I think what I want to do is I want to say, we don't be careful, we're going to lose that. We're going to lose it both with the far left and the right today. Both of them are threatening even what the salting effect of the gospel has brought us and moving towards a more neo-paganism. That deeply concerns me.